Here's the setup today. I've got to be careful to make sure I have a left and a right. Here is the place I had to add to make these tapered legs square. On the headboard, those are going to face to the rear. I've got a little snipe here I'm concerned about, but right now I'm going to set this bed up to make sure everything looks good. I want the rails to be 10 inches off of the floor, so I've got this set up here 10 inches. I've spent all morning fidgeting with this. I have measured it, remeasured it, flipped it over, remeasured it. I've got my big boy Porter cable 3¼ horsepower router set up, made the test cuts, the sample works. I have looked at the picture she sent me. I've decided I'm going to cut it off 2 inches above this foot rail. So I put it off as long as I can. I had lunch. I went and got the garbage can. I just checked to see if the recycling can was empty. It's not. I have no other excuses other than fear. Make a cut, and if I mess up, find a way to fix it. Lord have mercy, here we go. They're cut. Rather than trying to measure this, I'm going to use this as a setup stick. I'll flush it up with the bottom here, and then mark it here, and take that over to the saw and cut it. I'm ready to cut this mortise, I think. I've got these glued down with double-sided tape. I brought up the scraps to give it some support. I found that if you give it a few taps with a dead blow, it kind of sets the double-sided tape. If these move, I'm screwed. So they have to be down good. I kept proceeding. I'd cut about 1/4 of an inch, no more than 1/4 of an inch out, and vacuum it out. And then on the last pass, I bottomed out the bit, and it's at 1 inch and 7/8. I'm going to cut these. I hope to have a tenon of 1 3/4 inches to give the wood a little bit of movement. I vacuumed it out one more time, bottomed it out, cleaned out the mortise one more time. You may have noticed I've added some clamps here. It was just, I felt like I was pressing, and I saw a little daylight between my spacers, and I really should have added those clamps from the get-go. What I really should have done is gone ahead and cut this mortise before I cut the legs off. Live and learn. I'll do that on the headboard. I've spent the last several minutes squaring both ends of this up, and I'm not going to lie to you, I made a test fit. I wasn't going to do a first test fit on camera. It fits! It's been a good day. It's leaning backwards and the left leg over here is off of an angle, but The mortise and tendons are fit, and it's time to trim this baby out. Here's a little tip. This is the spacer from the footboard. The headboard is a lot bigger and has a little bit of a wave to it. So I'm going to make this spacer a little bit bigger. I've got 3 hotel cards here that I've cut in half. Got them all going the same direction, so I know they're exactly the same space. I'm going to use that as my setup guide for this other spacer when I cut the mortise in that other leg. That's a little bit tight. I like that. So this space here, when I cut the spacer, will be the new size for the headboard. The headboard I'm not going to glue in because of transportation issues. This thing is huge. I want to be able to take the legs on and off. So it's going to have a frame in front of it, and any gap that frame will take up. So the headboard will be detachable from the headboard legs, just so it can be more easily transported. Back again. Beautiful day here in Georgia. I've spent the last several minutes, well actually last evening, I spent the last about half an hour setting this up. I ran out of double-sided tape, so I still had about half an hour of workshop time that I devoted myself. So I made a couple of setup blocks. These are going to make it a lot easier to set this far side up. So this just goes to the back of the leg. I've got everything clamped up. I've checked and double checked to make sure this is the front and this is the back of what I want to do. So it's time to cut this mortise. I feel a lot more confident on this one than I did the first one. I put a lot of work into these legs so far, several hours worth of work into these legs so far. I spent yesterday filling in all the holes and smoothing them out. But I'm gaining some confidence in this stuff. The last few minutes have been spent chiseling the corners square. I left the template on this time, and that was actually a lot easier. It's time for the next one. This is a deep mortise, 1.5 inches deep, but this bed's going to be sturdy. Here's the reason I'm using these setup blocks. Man, I don't want to mess this up. So I flipped them around. This one was over here and it was flipped around. I want to turn it on the back, so I've got a lot of nice exposure here. These are going to go on like that. I'm going to clamp that on like so. I'll clamp these 2 ends together, and then with the setup block, I know that this is in the same position as that other one. I pop in my spacer here, and then I can put the other one right on here, clamp everything up, and cut it again. And these back legs will be exactly the same. Well, that was a close one. I almost messed up. I was looking for this mark because I'd marked both of the legs on the other end. And on the other end down there, I couldn't find it. Well, I went ahead and made another one thinking I just messed up. But then I took a peek under here. This is the top of the bed. This, on this side, is the top of the bed. So I've got to go the other direction. Whew, that was a close one. A quick tip. If you've ever worked with this double-sided tape before, you know it's a booger bear to try to cut. It messes up your scissors and stuff, but if you hold a razor blade right there, you can cut it pretty cleanly. Here it is, the headboard roughed out. This is my 77-inch measuring stick I've got there. I've got my jigs that I'm going to use for setup on the front rails. Now I just have to make these jigs for the back rails here to make the setup real easily. I've got to add the trim, but I'm real happy.